Yep, 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 yep. What's up? What's up? What's up? We here. Let's get it. Let's get
Gather around the
it.
table where the stories get told.
Come on, y'all.
Grandma's
Family
wisdom
meeting,
worth
family
more
meeting,
than
family meeting,
gold. We pass the plates like we pass the plans.
family meeting,
Legacies
y'all.
a
Let's go.
recipe
Let's go.
cooked by
Let's go.
hand.
Let's go.
No silver spoon, just the
Come
ground we
on now. Come
know.
on now.
Seeds in the soil, watch the future grow. Yeah.
What we gotta have?
Family meeting, this is where it starts. Blueprints laid out straight from the heart. Breaking cycles, building dreams. Generational wealth ain't just a scheme.
Come on, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We working. We working. We working. We working. What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? What's up? Thank y'all so much for coming in, man. Greatly appreciate y'all, man. Yeah.
We pray over blessings, then strategize moves. Every brick we lay is a win we prove. We rise together like the bread we bake. Breaking curses ain't a thing we face.
It's where it started. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up, chat? What up, family? What up, family? What's up, family? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, man. We are here for your daily motivation every single weekday from 8:30 a.m. until 9 a.m. I am your kid's favorite mentor, Backpack Jeff, and I've been doing mentoring for quite a few years now. I've been speaking for 10 years now, but I've been doing mentoring for quite a few years, and I've experienced a lot of great stories in mentorship, and I think it's important just to share those stories. And the idea about today, as you guys can see during the live topic, man, is no risk, no reward. No risk, no reward. In life, you have got to be willing to take risk. I mean, you need to realize that you may have to risk almost everything in order to just get a piece of what you want. And the word risk can sometimes be synonymous with the word sacrifice. So realize that you may have to sacrifice almost everything just to get a piece of what you want. And the more you're willing to risk, the more you're willing to sacrifice, the more opportunities you have. Now, here's the thing. I don't want you to think that risk and sacrifice always have to be synchronous with negative perception, right? It doesn't mean that you have to risk your life. It doesn't mean that you have to risk your freedom. It doesn't mean that you have to risk your free will. When I'm talking about risk and I'm talking about sacrifice, I'm simply talking about the pleasures of life that we want to engage in currently. We may have to sacrifice those things today for a better tomorrow. And the interesting part about that is we have no idea when tomorrow is going to happen. There's an old story and it says, and it talks about, are you willing to sprint for $1 million if you didn't know how long you had to sprint? Like, if you didn't know the distance that you had to go, would you be willing to sprint for $1 million? Now, that could be 10 feet. That could be 10,000 feet. That could be 10 million feet. But in order to achieve the goal, you have to be willing to take that risk. And today is all about taking risks. I want to tell you all a risk that I took when I first got into the speaking industry. We talked a little bit about this before, but when I first got into the speaking industry, what's up, everybody? Thank y'all so much for coming in, man. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that follow button, man. I greatly appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much, man. Welcome to everybody that came. Remember, we are live every single day from 8:30 a.m. until 9 a.m. But you have to be willing to take a risk. And when I first got into the insurance business, when I first got into the speaking business, I was willing to take a risk. I was willing to risk my comfort, my level of comfort, so that I can accomplish the thing that I had a desire to accomplish. See, I had never been a speaker before. I had never been someone who had been on stage, who really enjoyed the limelight or the public eye. I think the greatest fear that is out there is the fear of public speaking. And I learned that it's not just the fear of public speaking itself, it's the judgment behind the fear of public speaking. See, many of us are not afraid to speak out loud. Many of us are not afraid to talk in public. What's up, Lockdown? Appreciate the gifts over on TikTok. Many of us are not afraid to speak or talk out loud. Many of us are afraid of the judgment and the ridicule that will come behind what we say. We want people to like us. I want people to like me. I want people to enjoy the conversations that I'm having. I want people to come on live and I want them to listen. I want them to enjoy. I want them to give some feedback. What's up, everybody over on YouTube? What's up, Mater? I want everybody to like me, to, you know what I'm saying, to take in what I'm saying and put it in their bag, right? If we're using a backpack Jeff metaphor, but that doesn't always happen. And even when I first got into speaking, my first speech is on YouTube. If you guys are on YouTube, y'all can go back as far as you possibly can on my page, and you'll see that that first risk that I took, where I said, yo, I'm jumping out of the window with this one, and I am going to rent out an 800-seat theater, and I'm going to get up and speak. And I didn't know what I was going to speak about at the time, but I learned that I had to create a philosophy for myself. And this is something that I encourage you all to do as well, is to create a philosophy for yourself, something that you are willing to live by, something that you are willing to stand on, something that you are willing to stand for. I had a philosophy of 6 things that would change my life. It was developing your belief, executing on your time, which was changing your circle, which was deciding and committing, which was going after it as if your life depended on it. And I can't remember what that last one was, but I had to create a philosophy for myself. And so when you think about taking risks, I want you to ask yourself, are you willing to take the risk and risk it all for the thing that you wanted? Many of you all know that I work with juveniles at the juvenile detention centers, and I help them with reentry while they are in the juvenile detention system. I help them re-enter back out into society. And one of the interesting things that we talked about during that time was they would get out and they would say, Mr. Backpack, I've been locked up for about I've been locked up for about 3 years, man. And when I came out, it's still the same people doing the same exact thing. And I said, I know. So imagine if you disappeared for another 2 years and worked on yourself intentionally during those 2 years. Imagine what you would miss during those times. You wouldn't miss much of anything during those times. Why? Because you've already seen evidence of what happens when you disappear or you go away for an extended period of time. It's the same people standing on the same block, spending the same money, trying to make the same money. There is nothing new that is happening on the block. I guarantee you the same thing that's happening on this block is the same thing that's happening on the other block. The same thing that's happening, that has been happening for X amount of years, is going to be the same thing that's going to be happening a couple years later, right? When you leave, when you pass away, those same people are still going to be working that same block. And then in 20 years, when a new wave of young people get here, they're still going to be doing the same thing, right? I don't understand how young men are willing to risk it all on the block, their lives. They're willing to risk their lives on the block, but they're not willing to risk being uncomfortable. They're not willing to risk being judged for doing something positive in their life, for doing something positive in their community. We've got people that are willing to risk virtually everything. They're not only willing to risk their lives, they're willing to risk the lives of their families, of the people that they are close to, of their loved ones. They're willing to risk your life and associate you with the crimes that they might be committing, but they're not willing to risk being judged. They don't want to work at McDonald's. They don't want to work at Chick-fil-A. They don't want to work at Subway. They don't want to work at the fast food restaurant because they don't want to be judged, but they're okay for somehow we've made cool standing out in the cold and in the heat for hours and hours on end, risking your life selling drugs. We got to take the right risk. I said in a poem, when two people got the same hustler's mentality, it's just about the client that you serve. Who is the client that you're deciding to serve every single day? Many of our young men, they have phenomenal skills. They have phenomenal skills. They just haven't been taught how to use those skills. Further, I said in that poem, and maybe I should do a segment of like Decoded where I decode these poems. But further in that poem, I said, I gave your kids street smarts, but they didn't have enough book smarts to figure it out. I gave you hustlers, you turned them into hustlers. I gave you CEOs, you turned them into OGs. There's right the skills. It's just about the client that you serve. Who do you decide to serve? What are you willing to risk? Are you willing to risk you being uncomfortable so that you can achieve the thing that you want? Or are you continuously willing to risk your life out on the street to try and live a life that you know you're not going to live? To try and live a life that you know you're not going to live. You got to be willing to take a risk. When I first started in this, I was willing to take a risk. Even doing this right now, I'm willing to take a risk. I'm willing to look stupid. I'm willing for people to laugh at me. I'm willing for there to not be people in here and for me just to get video from this. But you know what? I'm looking at it as a way for me to develop soft skills. We talked about this yesterday where I said that your kids should be developing skills through podcasting, communication, research, asking the right questions, being able to interview. Those skills are starting to matter more in the business world. Soft skills are starting to matter far more in the business world, and how you handle those soft skills. And when we talk about soft skills, what are those soft skills? We're talking about conflict resolution skills. We're talking about self-awareness, self-management, right? Leadership skills. We're talking all of those soft skills that you're not necessarily learning at school. Those are skills that we are starting to see are more important in the workforce. Why? Because especially in today's society with social media, you got to think. So how important is social awareness? How important is being able to read the room? These are all skills that I talk about in my mentor programs when I partner with these schools and when I partner with these organizations. Yo, your kids have to learn these soft skills. They got to be able to read a room when they walk into a room. Do they have social skills that are healthy enough to be able to say, you know what, I know how to read a room. I know I know the person that I need to be for this environment. Many of the youth that I run into today, they can't and I don't want to say it like this, right? But like we always talk about like wearing a mask, but they can't code switch to fit the environment. Not to say that code switching is something that we should do in every single environment, right? There still needs to be a variation of you in there. But do you know how to be the person that the moment requires? If you don't know how to be the person that the moment requires, what you'll find is you'll find yourself frustrated. You'll find yourself not being able to feel comfortable in any and every environment. I know how to feel comfortable in any and every environment. I can go to your barbershop, your hair salon, your corporate event, your comedy show, your poetry show. I can go to your kids back to school night. I can go to the playground. I can go to virtually any environment and feel comfortable. Most people cannot do that. Most people do not feel comfortable in any environment. And that's something that we have to be willing and we have to be able to teach our kids, yo. We got to be able to teach our kids these soft skills, right? Emotional intelligence, how to regulate your emotions, how not to allow your emotions to control your decision-making, but control your decision-making independently through logic. How to communicate effectively. Not only how to communicate effectively, but how to extract communication from people who don't know how to communicate effectively. Because when we think about effective communication, we only think about being able to communicate to other people. But a part of effective communication is also, are you able to extract from somebody else what they're trying to communicate, or are you able to help them communicate what their message is? Because many of us do far more complaining than we do requesting. We walk in and join and we go, man, it's hot as hell in here. Yeah, that's a complaint, but that's not a request. I need you to make a request. The request is obviously, can you turn the air on, or can you turn the heat down? But most of the times we don't do that. We complain and we expect people to know what our request is. But here's the thing. Once you start complaining, the active listening ears of most people, they're going to shut off. They're going to shut off once you start doing that. Majority of your communication is in your body language. Me and my wife had a conversation about this just yesterday. She's like, Jeff, I'm like, babe, I'm listening. She's like, yeah, but your body language is saying something totally different. And I'm like, I'm glad I got somebody who knows how to communicate well, right? Because I was listening actively, but what it said, what my body language said to her was very disrespectful. And she called me on it, and I love it. I love it, man. Keep me honest. Oh, baby, keep me honest, man. She keep me honest, right? Critical thinking and problem solving. How often are you practicing critical thinking and problem solving? Every single day should be an opportunity for you to practice your critical thinking and your problem solving skills. We're not exercising the muscle enough of critical thinking and problem solving. I need these are skills. These are skills that if you want your kid to have a job, right? If you want your kid to have employment opportunities, they need to be able to learn and develop these skills. Speaking of critical thinking and problem solving skills, okay? Speaking of critical thinking and problem solving skills, we have got to talk about something that is going on right now in real time. So this is a breaking news segment right here. This is a breaking news segment, you guys. All right. Good people, welcome back. Listen, man, I need to tell y'all, man. I need to tell y'all. So, first and foremost, domestic violence is a real thing. I need to let y'all know that domestic violence is 100% a real thing. All right, I need y'all to understand that. And what's interesting, man, is what I want to do is I want to use this. I want to take this opportunity to I want to take this opportunity to talk about a situation that is going on right now. So if you all know who Big Tigger is, the radio host, the radio host, we've seen him and we've been supporting him for years and years and years. So apparently this video came out yesterday of him trying to get his phone back from his wife, and the video was recorded by someone. I'm not really sure who it was. I would imagine it sounds like it is the son of the woman that's in the video, his wife that's in the video, because the reason that I'm saying this is because the young man called him Mr. Tigger. All right. The young man called him Mr. Tigger. And so hold on, let me put this at the bottom. So the young man called him Mr. Tigger, and what I doubt that I doubt that his own son would call him Mr. Tigger, right? I doubt that his own son would call him Mr. Tigger. And so what's interesting is that this is an opportunity for us men to understand, okay, to understand that domestic violence happens in situations, and most of the time you as the man will most likely be the offender in this situation, right? But here's the thing, everybody online is trying to decide who's right or who's wrong in this, but I want to ask a different question. How does a disagreement become a crisis? And listen, here's something that's crazy, yo. The internet is undefeated for this. Mr. Tigger! Mr. Tigger, get over her now! Mr. Tigger! I wanted to show y'all the video, but I can't. Yo, the internet is undefeated for that. So that's absolutely crazy. But so here's the thing, right? Like, again, I want to ask the question, man. How does a disagreement become a crisis? All right. This isn't about judging people that we don't know. This isn't about recognizing the warning signs before our conflict gets out of control. Most major conflicts don't start as major conflicts. They start as little white lies that happen and then they build up over time. It's like if you think of a wall, if you think of a wall and you put enough cracks in the wall, what you will do is you will weaken the wall. There's a story about a young man who is having some bad days, and the granddad tells him he wants him to put this giant 3-foot nail in this wall. And so every day he'd have a bad day, he'd have to hammer this giant nail into the wall. He did it about 20 times, and he got to the point where he said, man, this is tiring. I don't want to do this anymore. So he said, I'm just going to have good days from now on. And the granddad told him, he said, listen, every time you have a good day, I want you to take a nail out of the wall. And so the young man, he had some ups and some downs naturally, but he got to the point where he ended up taking all of the nails out of the wall. He runs to his granddad and he says, granddad, look, I'm so happy. Look, I took all of the nails out of the wall. And the granddad looks at the wall and he says, yes, but look at what you've left behind. And the young man looked at the wall and he saw 20 holes that were in the wall. And the granddad said, listen, you can say things to people, or you can do things to people and apologize to them, but they're always going to remember how you made them feel in those moments. So regardless of whether you apologize, there's always going to be some remembrance of that. And now look at the structure of that wall. The structure of that wall is much weaker right now than it was prior to those holes going into the wall, right? And sometimes we try to fill those holes and things like that, but it doesn't always help, right? So conflicts, what happens with conflicts is conflicts start off as little things, and then they end up blowing up, right? Especially if there is no space to discuss those conflicts. This is why it doesn't matter how good your relationship is, how perfect it is. We should have regular meetings every single day in our relationships, our intimate relationships, our work relationships, and our friendship relationships, to just ask questions. Yo, what can I do to be a better friend to you? How can I be a better friend to you? What more do you need from me? And these are all questions that we can ask so that we can get clarity on the production of our relationship. Me and a friend of mine, Lou, man, shout out to Lou, my guy, Lou Payne. He sent me a text message and he was like, yo, I thank you for your friendship, man. It's nice to have a friend who don't need anything from you but friendship. And I really thought that was deep and that was heartfelt, because sometimes we do get in friendships where you feel like you're offering more in that relationship than you want to, right? So like there could be financial support, those different kinds of things, and financial support for your friends could be a burden. So I'm grateful for that. But the little things that happen and that transpire over a long period of time, if we don't have a space to talk about these things and discuss these things, can ultimately turn into something that is much bigger. And it could lead to a situation like this, right? A disagreement becomes an argument becomes yelling becomes grabbing becomes the police involvement becomes with criminal charges, lawsuits, custody battles, and careers affected, all from one single disagreement that wasn't handled in the beginning. We have got to be able to get to the root of the things that are causing us discomfort and conflict, as opposed to cutting off just branches, right? So like if we don't get to the root of the problem, naturally that tree will likely grow back, right? If you just cut off a branch of a tree, if you just cut off a part of a disagreement, as opposed to getting to the actual root cause of the disagreement, chances are that branch will grow back, that tree will still survive, and you'll still have conflicts that are happening in your life. So the best thing that you can do is figure out what the root cause of any disagreement is, and then solve it from the root, right? We've all heard the saying, the best way to kill a snake is to cut it off at the head, or the best way to kill a monster is to cut it off at the head. I don't know what they be doing in these scary movies when they be doing all this Jason and Freddy Krueger stuff, and they just be trying to shoot him or stab him one time in the chest or the body. No, you need to extract the head, okay? So, at what point in that in this Mr. Tigger situation do you think that he could have probably walked away? Now, obviously, there was something that was in that phone that he did not want her to see, or I mean, even more than that, it's just his property, right? I think there's two videos that that I saw now, or maybe this is just the same video from another angle, but where he's trying to get something back from her, and she is obviously not giving those things to him, right? So the best thing that you can do, man, listen, if I ever find myself in a relationship where I feel like I have to go through your phone, I'm immediately breaking up with you right then. Like if you feel like you got to go through my phone, we might as well be done. Like because there's zero trust in a relationship at that point. Like if you ever get to the point where you feel like you got to go through your man's phone, you got to go through your girl's phone, bro, that is a headache, and that is time, energy, and effort that is being wasted right now, and you just don't have time for it. So please do not spend your life trying to figure out, is this person cheating on you? Dude, that's a whole nother homework assignment. That's more energy towards a situation than it's worth, right? There is no relationship. There is no relationship that is worth going through your partner's phone every single day. Like I'm grateful I'm in a space right now in my relationship, and we have been since the beginning, that when I walk in the house, I don't got to put my phone face down and put my phone on silent. Like I don't know, people who come in the house and they got their phone on silent all day long. Why your phone on silent all day? How you going to hear it if somebody call you? What if you lose it and we don't have Find My iPhone on there? How we going to call it? And we have to shh, everybody be quiet. Why your phone on silent and on vibrate all the time, man? Listen, if we feel like this, it's just brewing conflict. Conflict is just brewing in environments where there is no trust, where there is no security. If you feel like you gotta go through your man's phone, girl, go ahead and leave. He probably doing it. Because if you look long enough, you'll probably find something to be upset about, right? Now, it's not that he doesn't necessarily have to be intentionally engaging in conversations with people. He could just have liked the picture or commented on something, right? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you look for something long enough, you'll find something to be upset about. If you look for something long enough, you'll find something to be upset about. And if you want to be upset, then chances are you will probably be upset. But so y'all, today, your motivation for today is this morning, I need you to take a risk. This morning, I need you to take a risk, right? I need you to take some sort of risk that is going to get you to the thing that you have a desire to get to, right? It's going to be scary. It's going to be ugly. It's going to look like it's not going to work out, but I need you to take the risk. All right. I need you to take the risk. And then second, number two, right, is it doesn't matter what it is. It's not just conflict. It's everything that's happening in your life. Get to the root cause of those things. If you feel unmotivated, get to the root cause. Why do you feel unmotivated? Why do you feel unmotivated? You're unmotivated because you don't have anything to be motivated by. Okay, now let's start getting to the point of, okay, what motivates me? What encourages me? What inspires me? You got to start asking yourself these questions, and you got to start finding out and learning about yourself. Spend more time learning about yourself so that you can get to the root of what motivates you, what inspires you, and what's going to keep you on track every single day, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all for coming in and joining us. Remember, we are live every single morning from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Risk about what you gotta. Yeah. So when I'm talking about risk, I'm talking about you have to risk being uncomfortable in order to accomplish the thing that you want. So we talked a little bit about that earlier, where risk is an important part of achieving success, getting to the life that you have a desire to live. You got to be willing to risk something. If you're not willing to risk it, chances are you're not going to achieve the thing that you want at the level that you desire. So there's always going to be risk associated with everything that you do. And there's always going to be sacrifice associated with everything that you do. And we also talked about that risk and sacrifice doesn't always have to be perceived as negative. It could just be a feeling of discomfort, where, you might put yourself in a situation where you might have to be just a little bit uncomfortable to accomplish that thing, man. So I appreciate y'all, man. You know, it's all love. My motto in life is always stay in your bag. So you never got to chase a bag, and winners write history and losers become a part of the story. Always remember to write your own history, because I guarantee if you allow someone else to write you into their story, they're not going to write the ending to your life the way that you want it to be written. So make sure that you write the ending to your life the way that you want it to be written. All right, y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all later.